Welcome back. Keith Gardiner is a lifetime Kern County farmer who has seen the district impact that droughts have on agriculture. And Gardiner graduated from Cal Poly with a bachelor's and master's degree and is the owner and founder of Pacific Ag Management, a farm management operation that helps grow leaders and helps farmers succeed. So Keith, thank you so much for joining us this evening to talk about this very, very important issue and of course sharing your insight on the impacts of drought. So first I want to ask you, can you break down just briefly where our water actually comes from, our residential water versus water that's used for agriculture?
Alex, good to be with you tonight. And I wish we were talking about something more positive about agriculture than this current drought that we're starting to go through. But our residential water here in Kern County basically comes from the city of Bakersfield, who has a contract for water off the Kern River that starts at the head of Mount Whitney, flows down the north fork of the Kern River and the south fork of the Kern River and comes into our Bakersfield city limits. That's where our residential water comes from. Our farming water comes from two basic sources, three actually. We also get water off the Kern River and Mount Whitney, but we also get water off of the state contract aqueduct, the aqueduct that's built on the west side of the San Joaquin Valley. We also get water off the federal system that comes in on the east side of the valley that comes from different lakes and reservoirs up into the north. All of this comes through basically the heart blood of our water system that starts at the San Joaquin Delta. That's where most of the water comes through into the California, and then it's dispersed up and down the 840 mile length of the state of California and distributed to the farmland up and down this state, and even to the cities Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, and all of those different areas that need our water.
And I know something that we talked about earlier is how much water do farmers pay for versus how much you actually use? Can you break that down for us?
Well, yeah, it's a funny thing that actually our infrastructure and design of our California system was started back in the 50s and 60s. It was a brilliant design on how to transport water up and down the state. Farmers contracted with the state of California to buy that water to build the state aqueduct. Today, because of environmental lawsuits that have taken place, even though we pay for 100% of water, even in a good year, even in a good wet year, we really only get about 50 to 60% of our water, but yet we pay for our full contracted amount that we got into contract with the state of California many, many years ago. But because of environmental concerns, our water has been cut back. Much of the water is being let go through the Delta out into the Pacific Ocean for the protection of the Delta smelt and salmon. And farmers up and down the valley have really been cut back on their supply of water that's really needed to keep the economies of California and our low food prices low for the people here in our state. Also, California, as you know, is the breadbasket of America. We supply 50% of all the fruits and vegetables in the United States. And I think over time, as our water is cut back, we're going to see our cost of living, our cost of food go higher significantly.
Now, obviously, you just mentioned some of the long-term impacts if we're not getting enough water. What do you think should be done by the state to fix this issue?
Well, I would like to see our state recognize that farming and agriculture supplies thousands and thousands of jobs throughout the state, that we need the water. We don't waste it. I know our family in agriculture, we've been in agriculture close to 100 years. We continue to make significant gains in efficiencies of our water. We don't really flood irrigate anymore. We use microjet irrigation systems, drip irrigation systems. We're really fine tuning the amount of water that we use. We're not growing a whole lot of the water of the crops that really take a lot of water anymore. We're mainly into fruits, nuts, and vegetables. We're trying to be as efficient as we can. We'd like to see our state recognize the importance of agriculture in our state, the importance of keeping farming and prime farmland working for the state. And we'd like to see less of the water flooded out into the ocean and wasted. And we'd like to see more of that distributed through the farms here in California.
And last question, Keith, before we leave here. Is this the greatest threat to farmers? Is not having enough water the biggest threat to your industry right now?
Absolutely. Water is the lifeblood of everything. You can't do anything without water. You can't grow a head of lettuce or a head of broccoli or an almond or anything without water. It just takes water. It's just the way it goes. And we need to be as efficient with it as we can. We need to recognize the importance of our economy in the state of California. It's actually, a security deal for having food, a cheap source of food in the United States, and we supply, all over the world with our commodities. We don't want to waste water. We promise that we won't waste water. We just need the water to keep going. We're going to see probably over the next 20 years, 10 to 20% of our prime farmland go out of production in the state of California for the lack of water. It's not that we don't have water. We do have a lot of water, and Kern County is really blessed with the ability to be able to efficiently bank our water in wet years and pump it out in dry years. So we really have the ability to withstand these droughts during dry years and use our sandy soils to replenish our aquifers during the wet years. We're very good at it. We just need the water to come down the aqueducts, dispersed out through the farmlands of California to be able to continue what we're doing.
All right, Keith, thank you so much. Coming up next, we speak with Congressman David Valadao to talk to us live about drought legislation and the push to get Governor Gavin Newsom to declare a state of emergency. We'll be speaking with him next.